Welcome back to Chai Chat, where we are exploring the question of to be or not to be in EU, and that's what UK is going to answer. And here what we are looking at in our second segment is immigration, which is supposed to be the driving force of this entire debate, it seems like. So, in fairness, people do have a point when they say, practically, I'm talking about practically.
But you see, the Prime Minister already taken some measures that anyone coming from EU will have to have employment here. They will not be straight away able to claim benefit. And more importantly, the birth rate of this country is declining. People are getting older, living longer. If we do not grow our economy with the help of migrants, we will then, our economy will shrink with all sorts of problems for the national health, all sorts of problems for our public services. So we cannot blame migrants
but I think to be
all
fair,
our troubles. This country has been growing on the strength of migrants.
I think you're absolutely right.
No, migrant, yes, but not at this point in time. It is too much of pressure on the land, on the jobs, and everything.
Immigration policy, and I can't see him running our immigration policy soon. I mean,
he's one of the leading voices in the campaign. And there are colleagues.
This is all about managing controlled immigration in a fair way. And so, as I say, this is trying to give a mandate to the government, the government that's running the immigration policy post June the 23rd. So you talked about the emergency brake, but actually we can't pull that emergency brake. It's Brussels that pulls the emergency brake.
We want the concession now.
Sorry, can I ask you? The one question I think everybody watching this will want to know, what do you think is the right level of immigration for this country?
No, I just want to know, what will immigration policy look like?
What is the right level of immigration?
We're talking about the thing that you started. Well, that's the manifesto that both you and I.
But what is your view? You are here representing.
So no, I'm here actually to explain why I think we need a fairer, controlled immigration system. I'm the son of an immigrant as well. My father was born in Burma. Like you, I've seen the great side of immigration. I know it has a positive effect for our economy, our culture, our country. But it's not, we were never going to be able to tackle immigration with one arm tied behind our back, because there is nothing we can do.
No, I want to understand this one arm tied behind the back.
Let's politics.
Because we cannot.
It's not actually explaining how it works.
Because we can do nothing from people moving from within the EU into this country. We have some meagre reforms that David Cameron has had. There has always been the situation where the people that don't have work within 6 months. Sorry, no, is that we've always had, if you haven't had a job within 6 months, you should be going back. But it's actually rarely enforced around the EU in general. But the point is, the biggest pull factor for this country is not in work benefits, is jobs. With the fact that you have Greece with nearly 50% youth unemployment, Spain with around 40% youth unemployment, there's a big divergence in the economies of Europe. And when we are the big job creator, creating in the last 5 years more jobs than the rest of Europe.
No, but these...
Migrants.
So what I want to be able to do is to bring in people, skilled people, entrepreneurs with the qualities we want from around.
So how will you pick and choose these people? I want to understand. What is the kind of policy that you would have? I want to know, what sort of immigration policy would you have to pick and choose the skilled people as coming in for here?
I want to have an Australian style.
Under an Australian style policy.
Australia has more migrants. Now the reason that they have
actually they don't have more migrants. They have more migrants per head.
Because you
twice
actually
as much.
The whole point about a point system is you set the bar on where the points are. Australia wants more migrants. We actually want to be able to control that.
So let's go back. But let's go back to this point about. So let's say vote leave. You know, you get the result you want.
You're listening, Professor.
What happens next year? How many net migrants do you think the British economy needs?
I must admit, I'm sort of thinking as a colleague, you might want to say in that as well. So I mean, I can tell you exactly how we're going to leave in terms of trade, what I believe in. I can tell you about my immigration system, but I sort of think there's a whole 50% of the
population. But I think this is a soundbite.
But I tell you,
the whole question, the premise of the question is ridiculous.
We are only thinking of migrants. We're not thinking of how many Brits are living in Spain, Portugal, Greece.
There are more.
This is just
go on, please.
Exactly.
Please, Lance,
tell me. All the points. You have to take this down to very basic, common sense levels.
Yes.
This is all about management. Let me give you a very simple analogy or example. I have a restaurant. It has 70 seats in it.
How many people are
One minute, let me finish.
British?
One minute, don't worry. I have a
Yes.
restaurant.
You will not be able to run
It has
it.
70 seats.
Yes.
Let's
Okay,
assume
please, lads,
140 people.
What percent of your staff?
Yeah.
What
Can
percent
I
of your
carry on?
staff?
Let me
Yes.
finish.
Okay.
Let's assume 140 people stood outside wanting to get in. I wouldn't dislike those people. I would love those people that want to come to my restaurant. But the problem is, I only have enough seats for 70. And the fact is, yes, I could rush in the first 70 and rush in the second 70 and give everybody really bad service, or I could build another restaurant. But I can't do that overnight. That takes time. And
You
so
can't
the
have
issue
another Britain,
here,
for sure.
the issue here is that if you're going to have housing, uncongested transport, schools and so on, hospitals, you need to be able to manage. It's just a question of, it's catering. You have to know how many people to cater for.
No,
At the
coming
moment,
on-
we can't control that. We need to
Okay.
be able to
You know,
control it. We're going to offer those
Germany had a
services.
population of 80 million.
Yes.
Is now 70 million.
Yes.
Because the birth rate is declining in
Yes.
this country. We will have the same problem. If we do not have migrants, our economy will shrink.
I don't have a problem with migrants. I don't mind
Yes.
if the population gets to 100 million, as long as we can manage
No,
it.
I
We have to
understand.
manage
See,
it.
we have established
It's a
that we
simple-
want
it's so
migrants. We
simple.
need
Yeah,
migrants. Of
absolutely.
course, 26% of NHS is migrants. So we want migrants,
You know,
yes,
Of
and
which
skilled.
12% of the NHS are from within the EU, the rest of them from outside.
Yes, no,
That's the
no.
problem
But
with-
what
yeah.
the pressure on
So
the,
there you
it's
go,
all
the
settled.
Yeah,
So we are getting people from all
So I
around
want
the world.
to-
No,
So I-
pressure,
absolutely.
pressure,
Nobody-
pressure
and
on the
nobody-
system.
Nobody
Pressure
has,
on
no
the
one has a problem with immigration when economies are going well. It's only when economies are doing badly that immigration is often used as a scapegoat.
We can't then pick and choose, though. We can't say because it was
But these
UK.
people coming from Europe, they're not coming here because the weather's great. They're coming because they can't get jobs
Yes,
in Europe
yes,
because
no, no,
Europe's in a mess.
yes, 1 second. Let me just on that immigration. We have had a lot of chat. Now, Professor
I'll try
Damian,
to annoy-
please
annoy
level this
everyone.
for us and analyse where we stand.
Firstly, in terms of David Cameron's deal, and I'll name drop here, I wrote the pen.
And I want to think from the layman perspective for
Okay.
a man on the street, how
Okay.
will he be
Okay.
make up his mind?
Right,
On
in
me.
terms of David Cameron's deal, I wrote the pamphlet that you cited for that. There may be good, in fact I think there are very good reasons for restricting benefits to those that just arrive in from other EU states. It is highly unlikely it will have much effect on migration. And the reason I can say that really very confidently was most citizens from Central East European states didn't get many benefits between 2004 and 2008. The bottom was none. And that was actually when there was the most intense increases in migration from those states. That said, when you look at the numbers, from states like Poland and Central East Europe, they've levelled off considerably. The idea that some inexorable rise is wrong, and I think it's actually quite a dangerous narrative to play. So I would make that point, I suppose, to annoy Romain. In terms of annoying leave.
Look, give us an analysis.
Two things. I think the reality, Theresa May has said this, the idea that one gets migration down very fast just through legal restrictions is regrettably, or unregrettably, depending on your stance, something of a myth. You have two trade arrangements in this world, one between North America, Mexico and Canada, and one in Southeast Asia, where they don't allow migration, and they have far higher levels of migration, both regular and irregular, between Mexico and the US, between Thailand and Malaysia, that we have in the EU. It will continue for a significant period. Vote leave realistically, I'm not suggesting that we leave the EU for the next 3 or 4 years, though there will be significant migration increasing for the next 3 or 4 years there. So it is something we will have to come to terms with.
Thank you very, very much. I think we have to go to our next segment very quickly, and that will be a shortest one, to talk about the world influence and last word on each of them can have their last word on to be or not to be in EU. So stay tuned on Chai Chat.